But I know that once I was on her, she was actually fine. So I think we can gain actually a little bit of that trust from the top if we keep practicing. But yeah, it would be nicer to have a better mounting experience, I think. So I'm just gonna try and keep this sort of, yeah. Another thing I might do quickly with her is just, so I think that's her guarding herself a little bit too. She's like, so another thing I might do is just, you know how we did this the other day? So just see if we can do, yes, good girl, good girl. Good girl. Lots of releases today. So I think a lot of what's sort of the next steps with her is too, is like, now that she needs a lot more not training, but a lot more understanding of the different energies, as in, am I wanting something for you and am I asking something of you, rather than just me being loud, which I know is something that you need to work through too. But that's something. So she's sort of bumping me a little bit and say, like, you know, like, stop it maybe. But I really want her to be able to be okay with me here. There, that was better. So she's just, she bent a little bit and she just, so see how she steps back too? I'm just gonna I want her to be okay with me standing here, because that's where I'm gonna be when I ride. And if she is not okay with me standing here, she won't be okay with me being on top of her there. Okay, and she actively, so when I stopped, she stepped back to put me back here. So that's something really interesting with horses, what I've also discovered later on. It's like, we sort of assume, if I can do something at the front here to the horse, or if that they're okay everywhere, but they actually need to be okay anywhere on their body for us to be standing and, like, you know, having. And quite often they're not, like, you know, like, they quite often, if you really watch your horses, they quite often block you from going down their sides if they're not, you know, that comfortable. So they're not, so many things today happening. I'm just gonna do this again now. So I'm gonna see if she can, like, relax into the movement, which she is now. Just would like a little bit more bend, because that would show me there. There, and then I'll stop, and I'd like her to let me be right here, which she is. So that was already better. So we hear the threshold again. It wasn't a major one. She didn't, like, explode, but there was some resistance, and we worked through it. And this is how, yeah, that's how you make progress. There, nice. Yes, good. See that? So that's her putting me. So I'm just gonna. So you can either move yourself back, but that's sort of like, so that's you putting yourself in that position, or I could have asked her to come forward again to sort of make that choice by herself. I have a feeling that we're working through a lot of stuff today, like, just that we're really hitting a few nerves for her, like, where she's actually uncomfortable. There. So I'm waiting for her. When I do this exercise, I don't just want to hold her in a bend and like she's resisting and trying to get out of the bend. I really want her to come and soften into this, and like so, and that means slack in the reins. All right, now moment truth. So her head comes straight up. The first thing I do, I'm not just going to ignore that and move on with what I was going to do. I'm just going to, you know, go back to that bend. See, okay. There. Ah, there, back up again. I just got to take it easy step by step. I might do the jumping again and just see how it feels for her if I put a little bit of pressure on the saddle. Oh, I got to wee. So I stopped when she blinked. And I'll just my leg in here. Yeah, good girl. And I just take my leg out when she engaged. I just take it really easy and slow, and then, like, you know, you crawl in the beginning and you sprint at the end, okay? If you miss all those steps, you're always going to have like an anxious horse. It's going to be like one of those horses that you quickly get on because they're going to walk off. And you quickly want to get control of them. Or we can take the time now and have a horse that is completely confident and okay with us doing this, and then stands still and feels good. I really want to sort of just hang a little bit, but I don't trust the saddle and my mounting abilities too good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can well, I'll see if I can do it. Maybe I'll do a little jump first, actually. See how that feels for her, because that would be the next step. Good. I guess that's the kind of thing you would want to do with a green horse, right? Like, you don't want to just, I mean, the old days, right? You just get on and you ride the buck out of them. I think they're over, I hope, mostly. So here again, she asked me to, put me there. So I just, see how she does it again. So this time I ask her to let me here. So much. So much happening. You good girl. Yes, good girl. Here she was like, no. So many red flags, yeah. Like of her saying, I'm not okay with that. So, yes, I was doing Hmm.
Like, you know how we spoke about if something's obviously like be able to get over that hill, you gotta.
Yeah, I think that comes down to your confidence. If you feel confident, like you can push through it, then yes, because that's where you train and where you work. But if it becomes all a big muscle because you're not 100% sure of, you know, am I doing it right? Is that benefiting or not? And she gets more worried and she picks up on your energy, then I'd probably recommend to not do it. Either come back to it later in the session or another day, or take it, or just take it a step back. Sometimes when you like push a bit too far and it falls down, then just try and think, all right, what was the step before it came apart? Can we just go back to that step, and can we just do this and then finish it there? So then you at least sort of, you know, think for the word, can't think of the word, like you sort of enforced what was already there. So you didn't push for more, but you at least then went back to enforcing what already worked well. So because the more, like, yes, if we're going to get a good mount out of her today, like that's great, but that's one experience. We need a lot of good experience to get that hardwired into her brain. Yeah. So if things fall apart and you just go back to what works well, at least you keep hardwiring the you know, and enforcing what works already. So that could definitely be something. And also you don't have to keep pushing and pushing. Like I obviously push a little bit harder because, you know, I'm here today and I only come once a week. But, you know, if you notice that she can't even have you standing here, then work on that, and then don't try and get your foot in the steerable, or like, you know, and push further and further. Like also for you, that's like, you know, because that's also where we could get frustrated too, and where our expectations become too high. Oh my God, balance. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, it's a good girl. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, you're a good girl. So she just blinked there. I'll just move on because I just want to be safe. And here's where some people either start walking straight away or, like, you know, bending them around so that they can't run off. And it has all validity, and I guess every horse is different. But I know that her coping mechanism is usually to slow down and freeze. So I'm not going to put any extra pressure with the reins on now, because I just want her to sort of work through that. So I'm just going to get myself, sort of take that opportunity now to get myself ready. I think one of your stirrups is shorter than the other. Either way. So I just, you know, put my legs in my stirrup. And then the first thing I'm going to see is, like, can I just ask her head around so she walks on there, which is okay. It's okay, but I'll just, because she might not know. There, okay. So I tried to not put any pressure on now or made her stop. I just kept, like, asking for that bend, and then she sort of, it's really uncomfortable. You definitely have a shorter stirrup, I think. Anyway, and then So the first thing I'm going to go again is those there. To see if I can get her head, yeah? And we're going to... Yeah. So I put a little bit of lac on her. So I'm going to first, I'll bring up, like I want to work with my energy first. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is like, so I just sit comfortably on her now, not doing much. Yeah. So when I want to bring up my energy, I literally just engage my core, come up to my sit bones. I come forward a little bit, like I bring the energy forward. I give her reins. Yeah. And then the next step is I'm going to close my legs on her very gently. And I'll go for clack. There. And the moment she walks, everything comes back. Yeah. I'll go back to a neutral and engaged position because we're riding. Like when I'm like just slurping, yeah, it's still engaged, but it's not a like go, 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 yeah. So again, I make myself up, forward. I might show a direction with the rein. There, that helps too sometimes to just get her moving. Then she walks in the other direction, which is fine. And now we'll just go to, I just want her to to start walking just comfortably along. And then I might just change the direction of her just to test, like, you know, how can I change her mind? Have I got her mind? Or when she stops walking. So right now she wants to come back to you. So I just ask with the rein and I wait for her to actually step over with her front, yeah? So if I just pull her and she's resisting, so here she gets a little bit faster. So I'm going to do so I pick up the rein and put my hand on my knee. And I'm just going to wait for her to find, even if she stops, that's fine, yeah? But I just hold her there until she gives her head. Because this is going to be our recovery strategy. So whenever you feel her getting anxious, you go to that, yeah? Now we're going to go again. There. There. So you can feel her shoulders move when I... There. When I ask her. So right now she's resisting, and the shoulders moved. And that's when I stop asking. So you really got to like make a difference between, are you just bending her head around? Like right now she's resisting. There, her shoulders moved. Because that's when you actually get the commitment to follow your lead. When the shoulders move. Not when she just like goes like this in her head sort of, you know. And she sort of walks in the direction you want, but she's resisting. So now I'm just going to, because she gets a bit wound up there, so I'll use my legs and release. So it's really important that you release those legs when she walks on, because otherwise she doesn't fully understand what the legs mean. There. Good girl. What happened there? Did you sleep? So here she's drifting to you. I'll just see, can I convince her to go over there? And she does a full 180. That's okay. I'll let her make that, not mistake, but I'm letting her do that because I don't want to control her. I want to get her to listen to like my seed, where I want to go. I want her to, so now she gets a bit racy, probably towards the gate, thinking we're going out. So I just do my circles again. So at this stage she stops with the circles, which is okay, because that's just her way. So here again, so she became a little bit racy there. I'll just stop her. But then I'll keep asking her. So now I challenge her a little bit because I know that she doesn't want to go too far over there. But then when she sort of commits, I'll help her get away. Here she like ran away from it. So we go back to that. Another trick you can do if she's like, if you know, so when I go somewhere new with a horse, or I don't know how the horse, like I try to walk the perimeter of the arena. So I try to walk it both sides, both eyes. So she thinks, and then you can find out where she thinks the release is, which obviously is she thinks in that corner with you or the gate over there. And then what you can do is, so I want to turn around to talk to Freya. Hold on. Okay. So what you can do, so if you know that the release is there and she's worried about here, so you're going to strategically plan your session to do all the work over where she thinks the release is, and then you're going to do all the good and cuddly stuff over there where she thinks the scary bits are. Okay, so it's a bit of psychology. Yes, and so you're neutralizing the space. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to try and do now, is to just play with that a little bit. So she has a big issue going over there. So I'm going to go there deliberately. I'm going to see, I'm going to gauge. So here it's also a little bit about leadership, as in like, ooh. And now I'll stop her here and I'll just give her a pet. And we're just going to hang out in this corner. Give her a bum scratch. She's super braced, so I'll just unbrace her with the reins. And then I'll come back. And now, if she'd be good at trotting in the thing, I'll be trotting her back, but I know that she has issues. So now I'm just going to do something. I'm going to ask her to keep moving in a bend. And then I release her to go back there. See how she doesn't stop that much anymore? So here's about the threshold. I'm going to see if I can push her a little bit past the threshold. That didn't take a lot of convincing. She doesn't try and steer left or right to go back anymore. And I'll stop her. And I'll just hang out. She's having a lick and chew right now. She's very braced though. So tiny. Good girl there. And I'll let her have a bit of grass. Why not? Why not? That's all gonna help her. And then I'll turn her around. We walk back. Good girl. No, forgot which way I did it. I think it was this way. So now I'm gonna do ours. Yes. And I'll release her away from the corner. And those first rides are really like, I'm trying to really sort of gauge where her mind is at. Where does she think it's scary? Where does she think the release is? Where does she want to run to? Where does she want to stop? And I'm just going to try and like then see if we can, you know, neutralize it. So again, see how she like sort of fully braces. So I'll just ask her really gently to put her head, so unbrace her basically. She can't brace, ask her head around. And I let her have like the sniff and the curiosity and the look, because I want her to feel like, I don't want her to feel super controlled. Like it will come afterwards and we can play with like setting those boundaries in terms of control and the way we want to ride him. Like see how she's like, I let her go now. And she's like, that's her like making a decision now to work further away. So we're helping her build confidence. Whereas if I would have said, now you've got to go there, and like I make it really hard for her here, we wouldn't be here right now. I would be agitated and stuff. So now she's relaxing. So that's the other thing, those very first rides, considering how bad she is mounting, it just tells me that she's not quite comfortable with this situation right now. So the more I can make this right now uncomfortable for her and like a really relaxed, chilled experience, and give her some agency to walk around with me and to like, you know, explore the arena on her own terms, the better this is going to be for her. Obviously, if she gets like agitated or she starts running, I'll like take on the leadership and I say, no, we're going to so right now she came to the gate because she thinks, oh, well, let's just finish the session. This is the gate. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back to our little circles and just ask something of her and be like, let's do some work over here because you think this is the release. And then I'll release her to the back of the arena. And you can play with different scenarios. I can just ask her to not go there. But it's definitely more effective to sort of play with their minds a little bit and be like, all right, well, if you want to be here, let's be here, but let's do some work. This is not a lot of work for her, but it's more than just standing around or leisurely walking. And now I really go back to neutral. She's also very, the moment you shift around a little bit, she stops because I think she's not quite comfortable. Every time she does this for now, like I wouldn't accept that of my, you know, my horses that I work like on other things that I know. But if she can be relaxed enough to put her head down and have a nibble with me on here, that's all enforcing that this is not a scary experience for now. That was good. I put like my energy up and she walked off that, not off my legs. And then the ultimate neutralization of your arena is to actually dismount over here. So you want to, so she chose to go there. So I'm just going to pick her up now and just do a little bit of work because she chose to go back. And then once you feel like she doesn't really have favorite spots, you sort of want to not reinforce one spot as the mounting and dismounting. You want to sort of, you know, keep it a bit versatile. Yeah, so now she's like, whenever I just come up, she starts walking, which is really nice. And that's her attentiveness. Once she gets over that brazen freeze, she actually is super sensitive. And she can like, and she could, and once she gets more confident, you're probably gonna have a very soft horse, like, you know, like tiny little cues to ride her. There's a brace. Make it all the way to the end of the arena. Good girl. So I'm being super, super passive right now. I'm like, just let her sort of take the lead a little bit because I don't feel like she's nervous. I feel like she'd switched to exploration and, you know, building up her confidence. So I want to encourage that for her for now. So she just had a blowout. So I thought I'll dismount and let her feel good about the session. But then the moment I took my stirrups out, she braced again. So I didn't dismount on the brace. I let her come down again now. So now she's having a shoot. So I reckon the moment I'm going to shift forward to dismount, she's going to have another brace. There. So I'm just going to try as much as my physical ability allows me to do this in increments and not just, again, like a quick maneuver, to let her feel every movement. All right, and then once you dismount, you can't really. Beautiful, you're becoming a good girl, so brave. So brave. You want to come back? Yeah, just don't step on your thingy. And that's all that trust building stuff, right? Like, yes, it looks super slow and not eventful, and we're not trotting and cantering in circles and doing all those things, but there's no point of me, like, you could see her trotting on a lunge line, like in a circle. That was accidental, but I'm here on that side now. So it's so if she can't with the saddle on trot on a lunge line and she's like this, I don't want to ride that. I just don't want to, because I know it's going to be like, I'm going to get into a fight with her. It's going to be uncomfortable. Like, you know, when they're like that, trotting is the most uncomfortable thing you can do. It's going like that. It's just so hard to sit. That last trot she did, I would ride, but like, again, I think it's too much energy for her at the moment.
Yeah.
I'd rather,
yeah. Seeing her being able to walk with her head low.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, she's so yeah, she's getting more and more confident the more she's gonna have those positive experiences. So you reckon when you rode her she was up high, or
To start off with,
yeah,
up high, and then it would take her a little bit to lower her head.
yeah. Yeah. And she will even more. And like, I think we need to really work on that, you know, that trust building, having her that confidence to walk around before you even sort of pick up the reins and try and ask anything of her from up there. Yeah. Like, she needs to be really confident and comfortable with just the situation of someone being like on the back, and, you know, because at the moment, every movement you do up there, like every little shift in weight, she notices. And at the moment, her reaction is like, oh, I'm just going to stop and freeze. So we need to, I try to, when I sit up on her, I guess the next steps would also then be to be a little bit clumsy up there and a little bit like, you know, because she needs to sort of start gauging a little bit. Did that mean so? Again, that's that difference between energy as in I'm asking something of you, or energy as in there's just something happening in the environment. Yeah. And you don't want her to be alert every time you have a bit of a weight shift, or like, you know, because you lose your balance too sometimes. I like about her, and I think that's really comforting for you too as a beginner rider, is that her default is not, I'm going to run away from underneath of you. Her default is to just stop and brace. Yeah. Which is not bad. Oh, there you go, sweetie. How's that? Yeah.
Doing this sort of stuff. Do you ever do exercises or anything after you do a ride, like to finish on, or do you just
It depends where their head is at, because she like sort of finished on a rather relaxed state when we were riding. I'd probably keep that, like, it depends what memory you want them to have when you put them back. Okay, so you want to release them in a good frame of mind. And like, it's so if there is an exercise, or if your riding went, you know, all downhill and you had to hop off and it was awful and she was nervous and you were nervous, I'd probably go back to an exercise that, you know, she can do well, you can do well, and just something to bring, you know, her down, bring you down, and then bring her back on that. Because otherwise she's going to remember that, you know, like sort of as the last thing. So, but no, I usually don't. I usually do groundwork, then I ride. If I ride them really like a hard, let's say, like with my thoroughbred, I stretch them, and he really enjoys it. But yeah, whatever she enjoys, even if you want to spend another 5 minutes just petting, or yeah, like, you just want to have a yeah, make it a good experience and end on a really good note. Even though we worked through some stuff and like made it hard for her, you just want to finish on her being in a good state of mind, because that sets the tone for the next session. You start. All right. Thanks. Yeah, you did well. She didn't try to kick me today. That was really unexpected. But I actually like, I know that sounds really weird, and there's probably because some people that have said, can't have a horse kick you, but I felt like that was so bold of her and so like honest, and like, you know, like not when I met her, I feel like she would have never dared to speak up like that. And she really took agency and spoke up and said, nah, this is too much for me. And I really like that, because it just shows me that there is a level of trust that she can do that without fearing consequences. So I don't think, you know, extremes behavior like biting, kicking, are always necessarily a bad thing. Like, I feel like it's a very honest communication. Oh, she rather goes away, does she? Yeah, sweetie? Good girl. Good girl. So even the haltering, right? You don't want to just like force it on her, and like, you know, like that was way better that she sort of puts her head down and yes.
She has been lowering her head into the
Yeah, that's nice.
forehand and this like
Yeah. Oh, look at all that. So yeah, even this can help, because it puts you in the position where the saddle is, yeah, and you make this like a good spot. You make this like, you gain that confidence, you make her feel there. Don't always spend time there, like spend lots of time all over her body, and like extensive time, not just like, because when we're groomed, we just walk past, right? So they are the moments where they can just, you know, hold the brace, because I know she's going to be quickly done, like spend really extensive time, and then, you know, release at like the moments that she engages or that she lowers her head, and really see if you can. No, they all are. It's going to be summertime. Summertime.